I've noticed that a lot of people who are unhappy with their mixes think that they need to learn some fancy EQ and compression techniques to make their tracks sound good. And while this may be somewhat true for tracks where a lot of instruments and vocals are recorded, when it comes to electronically produced tracks, EQ and compression may not be the answer that you're looking for. So in this video I'm gonna share 5 essential tips plus a bonus tip at the end that have helped me a lot in achieving clarity for my mixes. No EQ and compression needed, well, except for a tiny amount of sidechain compression. And I'm gonna be using my track Tropical Nights as an example in this video. It's part of my EP with the same title, and I will link the EP and the beatmaking video for the track in the description down below. But also we are currently having a beat battle in our Discord server where you can download all the stems from the EP, including the stems of this particular track. Post your flip or remix until December the 27th and you can win a Machine Mark III provided by Native Instruments. Super cool. Don't miss this opportunity. Link to the Discord server with all the details of how to participate will be down in the video description. So your sound selection is one of the most important foundations of a good mix. And picking the right sounds for your track, like anything else related to production, the more you practice, the better you will become at it. So in this case I have a lot of sounds going on, but the timbre of the sounds is drastically different, their envelopes are drastically different as well, so this helps them fit better. So I've got this Rhodes piano, the muted guitar, bass, the glockenspiel, the brass, vocal sample, another vocal sound, and even a synth pad here and there. And I've got also the sine lead. So yeah, having all these drastically different sounds helps a lot. The second super important foundation is your composition and arrangement. Everything I said in the previous tip wouldn't really work that well if all these sounds were playing at the same octave or if they are playing at the same time in your arrangement. So if you use the right sound and compose and arrange in a way that they don't interfere with each other, half of your mixing work is done. So for example, here where I add this synth pad and a second lead synth, I remove all these sounds that were playing in the previous section. This clears up a lot of room and makes mixing much easier when you don't have too many sounds interfering with each other at the same time. Kind of obvious, but I see a lot of people make this mistake. Number 3, pay attention to your levels before even touching EQ and compression. So if you've done everything in tip 1 and tip 2 correctly, if you set all your elements at the appropriate levels and bring out the elements that you really want to be upfront and stand out and move the other non-essential elements to the background, a huge percentage of your mixing work is done. So here is the rough mix that I did while making the beat. Number 4, make sure you avoid a frequency conflict between your kick and your bass line. So in hip hop and electronic music, you want your kick and bass to be fairly prominent. And this can cause buildup in the lower frequency, which in the worst case scenario may result in distortion or at least prevent you to turn up the track really loud at the mastering stage, because this buildup in the lower frequency eats up your mixing headroom in your DAW. And you may need headphones to hear this properly, but here's how my kick sounded without doing anything to it. There is a bit of a tonal part after the initial hit that would really eat up a lot of the headroom and have a frequency conflict with the bassline. So in this case, I use the fade out feature in simpler, or if you're using audio tracks or any other sampler, just make sure to shorten the decay or release of your kick. And now it's a bit tighter. It's really subtle, but it does help a lot. And the other thing, on my bassline, I have a sidechain compressor. I've set it up to receive the sidechain input from my drum track and from my kick drum specifically. And so what you want here is just a very low amount of gain reduction. We don't want the bassline to be completely muted when the kick hits. You just want it to duck a bit to just free up some space for your kick. And it's not really a huge difference, not like something that's really obvious, but again, it results in more clarity for your mix. Let's hear it in context with everything else. And talking about the bass and the drums, keep your bass and drums as dry as possible. I personally keep them completely dry. I don't add any reverb, but if you insist on adding some reverb, just make sure it's really subtle. So the more reverb added to any particular sound, the further into the background we perceive it. So if you want your drums and bass to be upfront, punchy and tight, don't add too many time-based effects like reverb, delays, and so on. And my bass. All the other elements have reverb and delay, so the mix doesn't sound dry overall, but these critical elements remain dry, which helps a lot. And a bonus tip, when sounds are playing in the same or in a similar frequency range, panning one sound to the left, one sound to the right, basically panning them in opposite directions, can help a lot with clarity and make your mix sound bigger and more professional. So basically all these melodic elements are panned slightly to the left or to the right, as you can see. So we got the Rhodes panned to the right, the guitar panned to the left, Glockenspiel to the right, vocals to the left. So again, it's really subtle. You don't really hear them coming distinctly from the left or from the right channel, but it does help clear up the center of your mix where your drums and bass and maybe vocals are. So it really does help a lot. So if you want to see how I made this track from scratch, the beat making video will be linked here. Thank you so much for watching, everyone. Catch you later.